the first question I'd love to ask is just high level, how and why did you first get started with video?
Um, I first got started with video simply because very few people were doing it. There's a big hesitation by many people to put themselves in front of the camera. And I honestly think because of my natural love in sales and how salespeople love attention, that I saw it as a perfect avenue to just put myself out there and let people see my face as attractive as I think it is as often as possible. So video is the best way to go for me.
When was that? When did you start doing it?
Honestly, I would say particularly with LinkedIn, I stepped up video, I would say at the start of January in 2019, specifically being that that's when LinkedIn allowed you to start sending video messages to people via DMs. And so before that, I would do videos with regards to sales and everything, but specifically when LinkedIn introduced that, that is when I really, really took it and ran with it full steam ahead.
When is video great? Like what are some of your favorite uses of video? Like what do you think it looks like when it's really well done?
I think it's really well done when it's authentic. Like when you genuinely can tell this is who the person is. So I would always draw reference to my friend Alex B. Sheridan. His videos always contain some form of comedy, but it's very insightful and it's almost like he's speaking to your soul because he deals with a lot of insecurities people might have on social media. But I think when people can detect the authenticity, that is what really sets it off because, and again, the reason why I emphasize video is that remember when people see you, they hear you speak, it automatically, of course, we know it builds the trust, it builds the familiarity. And then when people meet you in real and how you are in videos, exactly how you are in real life, they automatically want to do business with you. It doesn't matter if you might not have the product or service they need, they would find somebody who needs it on your behalf, or they themselves will make sure and take it. So that's one thing I really, really understand, I believe, and I truly think that's when video is best. It doesn't matter what topic you're talking about, authenticity is the first thing that should always be done.
And how do you create authentic videos? Like what are your top 3 tips for someone who's creating video in order to be authentic?
I would say if you understand who you are as a person and you're willing to speak on a topic that you have an opinion about, I think that is honestly just the tips I would give you. The only other tip I give everyone, it's an obsessive thing I have because I don't use any camera equipment. Everything you see me put out is done on my phone. And all I tell persons to do is wipe your lens. That's it. Because you normally see these cloudy, foggy videos. That's my pet peeve. I tell persons, wipe your lens, pick up the phone, know what you're going to talk about. As you said, 3 points, and just record the video. You're good to go.
And what about on the flip side? When does video flop? What do you not want to see any more of? What goes wrong?
That's an interesting point. I haven't seen too many videos that are shameless plugs, especially but you see it more on like Facebook and Instagram because that's generally the nature of video sometimes. But I haven't seen it on LinkedIn per se. But overall, I think when the video becomes a shameless plug, like that, honestly, to me is just where you kind of get turned off. Or worse yet, if you may know who the individual is and they're speaking something that's not their core, and they're just doing it for the likes, those things kind of piss me off.
Yeah, understood.
Yeah,
sort of the
yeah,
opposite of authentic, I guess.
yeah. Because I've seen persons jump on LinkedIn to start talking about a topic, and you'll be like, but you don't do that. You don't even practice that. You don't believe it. You're just doing it so you can get likes. Like,
I don't buy.
why? Uh,
What about, so when it comes to video content, give me sort of 2 truths and a lie. So what are some truths that you found with video content, like things that you found to be true in your time creating it? And then what's one myth about video that a lot of people have that you can dispel?
I will start with the myth, which is you do not need fancy camera equipment to do video. It is not required. Your smartphone, if you have an iPhone, Android device, it doesn't matter. That's literally all you need to start doing video. You don't need fancy equipment at all. And I think that's honestly what you see a lot of persons. That's why I think a lot of persons are hesitant on doing video because you would see content producers put out and talk about, it takes me 4 hours to do a piece of video content, and I have to edit it and do all these things. Honestly, as I pick up my phone, I record. I always do it in one shot, so there's no editing, and I just continue after. Um, the two truths that I would tell you to video is that video is one huge and easy way to get customers and clients. Like, it is hands down the fastest way in terms of building your brand and getting your face out there versus all of your competitors. The other truth I would tell you to video is that it is something that has a how can I put it, boy? Um, I would say it sounds similar to the previous point, but there is a significant ROI to video in terms of, if you look back at the time you spend and the efforts and everything you put in it, the ROI of what you get out of it is key. Because I think for a lot of persons, they always say, well, I don't want to put my face on video, or I don't have the fancy equipment. And then they always say, I don't have the time. No, you can dedicate the time. It literally takes me probably 30 minutes out of my day to put content together once I have the idea done. So I think once it is that you understand those particular aspects behind it, you're definitely on your way to putting out your first video.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And tell me a little more about your tech stack. So you're using, it looks like an Android phone.
Yeah.
To record. You're
right.
recording. How do you, so assume you try to get some natural light, you upload it, and then do you do any editing? Do you do any captions? Like what tools do you use?
Yeah, so like I have a ring light now, so I'm using a ring light, but I kid you not, let me actually show you here. This is just to show persons how you must start from somewhere. This was my previous ring light. It's a lamp with a piece of paper on it to get the brightness out. I would use that to record, or you find somewhere with good light. You minimize background noise just so you make sure it doesn't overpower your voice. And honestly, I record in one take. It's much easier for me to do. I know a lot of people always break up their stuff, but for me, it's really, really easy to record something in one clip, because I don't necessarily, none of my videos go over 3 minutes. Because I think, and I've seen the analytics, people's attention span fall off after a minute, and it nosedives after 3 minutes. So unless it's something really, really engaging, it's hardly unlikely that you'd get them to stick for that entire time on the video. The other thing that I actually use is Canva. That's a big part of my process. So I record the video on my phone, I go to Canva, I upload it, I have the borders, my previous artwork done. And when that is finished, I go to an app to create the closed captions, and I upload to my social media. That's it.
That's really, really simple.
Yeah. You see, when you start to overthink it, for me, what happens is that, let's put it this way. If I record a piece of content and I start putting it through my editing apps, and I have 5 and 6 and 7 different takes, that's, I think, is what's causing people to take so long to put out one piece, because I'm seeing, I said it this way, and then I said it this way, and I said it this way. Yeah. For me, that's not a huge factor for me. I think I honestly do 2 and 3 takes, but I think once you get it in like your 3rd or 5th time, the wording, everything that you have is there, and it's perfect for you to actually do it in one clean cut. Yep.
It gets worse and worse. Alan, a guest I had, and friend who used to be here in DC, Alan Gannett, said the same thing. Like, stop after your 2nd take. It's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. Your first one's just fine.
You start overthinking it like way too much. You start thinking, oh, I should have said this word. Just
doesn't matter.
The first one is most likely the best one.
Yeah. What do you do when it comes to captions? Do you put up captions? I think your videos have sort of the built-in text at the bottom in the large screen, or the large text captions.
Yeah, actually, that's an app that I use on Android called AutoCap. It takes a bit of work to get everything right. I honestly think it's just because I'm from the Caribbean, the accent, some of the things might not catch on, and then I also speak very quickly sometimes. So it takes a little while for AutoCap to catch everything, but I use that app in particular in terms of creating my closed caption. And for anybody who's watching this, it's super important to put closed caption on all your videos, because I'm not sure if people know of the stats, but about 87% of social media profile settings are on mute. So videos don't play with audio. And then I also like to think about my user, because if my user is on their way to work or they're in their office and they might not have their headset next to them, I don't want them where they will scroll past my content. They can actually still read along, which is just as important. So for anybody who's putting content out there, you should not put anything out there without closed caption audience. And even then, when I was just thinking of it in that aspect. I only recently found out about 2 of my followers are actually hearing impaired. And when I first started doing closed captions, they messaged me and said, "Thank you so much, Jarrod, because it's kind of challenging to read lips." So the closed captions is a huge help for them.
Yeah, accessibility, that's an
Yeah,
important aspect as well.
correct.
So in terms of video content, we see lots of different styles of videos that people are trying out, from sort of this Zoom type conversation to
Right.
someone talking to the camera. Where do you think we're headed? Like, what do you think people are going to start doing more and more? And 3 years from now, what do you think is going to be a best practice when it comes to video?
I think 3 years from now, but actually, let me say what's the best practice with regards to sales, because I know a lot of persons in sales right now. Their challenges, as you say, building a relationship with persons to get them on a face-to-face meeting for the first time. So I honestly think putting out as much content as possible is one of the best ways overall that you can just get comfortable with the selling process. What I honestly see happening in the future, especially like if you look next 3 years, there's probably going to be some tool that's developed that you don't actually need to have somebody walking around recording you, that will actually record all your movements during the day, so people could start creating it as live action video blogs, etc. Because I honestly think that is where we are heading as humans, to give people insight. And I honestly think you're definitely going to see a lot more things like AR and VR take place into our world in terms of video content creation that allows persons to be more immersed with us, like if they're honestly standing next to us. So I honestly imagine it where I am with a client and we may be showing them a house because we might be in real estate, or if I'm IT, I'm showing them my data warehouse, and the client is seeing me right next to them, and we are walking and talking and having a casual conversation. And then I could take that content and upload it to all my platforms immediately as it's finished. And all the hassle of editing or putting the closed caption is done automatically with AI, and I have nothing else to do except go back and create more content.
Mm-hmm. Making it even easier.
Yeah. The only thing I'm concerned about though is more people putting themselves out there, because even a topic I keep getting, I'm not sure if you might relate it, Angela, but there are a lot of women who I speak to who say they don't want to put themselves out there because if they have to do video, they have to put makeup and get their hair done, etc. But I keep trying to emphasize to them that at the end of the day, people listen to what you have to say. If it is that you keep dressing up all the time for videos, but then again, when you show up in real, you don't wear makeup all the time, it's gonna have a disconnect with the buyer or the person who you're doing business with. So hopefully with people being able to create video easier, they also feel less worried about putting their face on out there on social media.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate, right? I when I started doing some of these video interviews, was really hesitant, and it's sort of embarrassing to put yourself out there amidst these conversations, and then you just kind of get over it, and then you realize you look like what you look like, and we're all individual people, and it's fine. So
Yeah.
it's authentic, right? If nothing else, it's authentic.
So let me ask, because I know this would be good, because I could always share this with some of the female clients that I coach. What is the best piece of advice you could give them for overcoming their nervousness with putting themselves in front of the camera?
Oh, that's a good question. I think start small. Two things. One, start small, do something small, just record it, tell yourself to do it, force yourself to do it. And then I think two is have a sort of champion, or have someone who will encourage you, right? Because I think when you get in your own head, it's really helpful to have somebody else who will say, you look great, you're doing great, this is awesome, put it out. That small bit of encouragement. And then once you actually put it out there, you can get more public encouragement. But I think having someone, whether it's a spouse, a family member, a child, a parent, whoever, to be sort of your sideline cheerleader in the get-go at the very beginning. Commit to one small video, just get it out there, and have a champion.
I like that. I like that, because I might actually use that when I put out some content later, because I was actually coaching a group of women in real estate, and when I was pushing them to do video, their concern was being out there in video, what people had to say, and they kept thinking they were going to get negative comments.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I did was that I made a bet with them. And when I made the bet, they realized how their thinking was. It was self-sabotaging. And I was like, okay, simple bet. If you put out a video and you get a negative comment, I will pay you $100.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get a lead from it, and if you get anybody interested in these services, you have to pay me $100. And all the women went silent. Yeah, because they realized how false it was. And one of them in particular, she went gung-ho on video. Like, she just automatically adopted it, started doing it. And she messaged me and she's like, Jarrod, every single day I get a lead now.
That's awesome.
And my response was, any negative comments? She's like, nope. I was like,
you're like, well, I'll be waiting for my $100 check. Here's my address, my Venmo.
My Venmo, send it to my PayPal account.
Yep, exactly. I expect $100 per lead.
Correct.
In perpetuity. Okay, and then 2 questions, quick ones. What is your least favorite buzzword?
COVID-19.
Fair, very fair.
I honestly tell clients to use the word current situation or just this incredibly unique time we live in. I honestly dislike the word COVID-19. I think it has to be thrown away. It really is. It is absolutely horrible.
Gotta go. And then lastly, what do you want to hear from other founders, marketing leaders? What questions do you want to hear them answer about video and content marketing?
I think for some of the ones who do it really well, because like I'm a huge fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, Tom Ferry in particular, and I know Tom Ferry's in real estate, but they do a really good job at marketing themselves. I think honestly, what I would like persons from those high levels speak about is just the simplicity of video and to really share the stats more in terms of how video leads to business. I think that's what they need to delve in a bit more and actually give a couple cases of persons who took the adoption of video for their business and what was the results, because I don't think I see that often. And when you see these big marketing companies or even the marketing gurus and the leaders in the industry talk, it's always done from a big production aspect. And I think that's what puts a bit of hesitancy into people who haven't done a video before into doing their first. So I think they need to break it down for everyone to show them that the device that they have in their hand, it's the most powerful tool and it's the easiest tool to get started with on video.
Do you have an answer to that for your own videos? Like, how many leads are you getting per video? Can you break it down that way?
Oh, yeah. So I actually did a video on that recently. So between January 1st to June 30th, my content on LinkedIn in particular has had about 330,000 views. Those views have generated for me about 500, say, let me put it in US. It's generated about 80,000 US in leads for my pipeline, and about 10% of those leads have actually closed. And a key thing to note about it is that a significant percentage, I'll probably say well over 60 or probably 70% of those leads were inbound. I did not reach out to the persons. The persons reached out to me after seeing the video. And the inclination for the client to buy as well is that they were much further along in the sales process because of my videos, and for me having to introduce, to sell, to explain my value proposition, they were already at the stage of, I'm ready to make a decision. I want this done for my business or this done for my LinkedIn profile. So hands down, it is definitely a really interesting stat, because when you look at the ROI of LinkedIn, when I saw that I had 330,000 views, I automatically thought, I'm not prospecting enough. I'm not engaging with these people enough, because if I can get 80,000 US in inbound leads, I should probably have that double from just outreaching to persons who engage with my content. So going forward, it's something I'm going to be a lot more aggressive on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing that. That's really helpful. And I think will be helpful for other people to hear the stats. Walk me through a top performing video and tell me more about the process and the results.
Right. So one of my top performing pieces of content on LinkedIn was a video I did that explained how I got my job at Samsung here in Trinidad. And I started, the inspiration of it came from working with somebody on their LinkedIn profile who was job hunting. And I was trying to explain to them that their current efforts weren't enough. And I was really showing them from my example what I did to get the opportunity. So using that emotion in particular, because it was a kind of heated conversation, and using that emotion, I actually started writing out in bullet points, recalling the turn of events, the events that came up to me getting the job. And I literally just went right to my backyard behind this wall here, and I set up my camera, and I think I did it in one take. I didn't even have to do like a second take. Like I just remember recording it and explaining it to persons that um in the job market right now, you need to stand out. Sending a resume isn't enough because a lot of persons are just doing that. So I started off by giving them that example, and then I started off by explaining to them how I got my job at Samsung. And then I came back to the original point of saying, sending a resume is not enough. These are the kind of efforts you need to do in order to get that kind of outreach. And I think for video wise, that one is actually at about 3,500 to about 45 to 4,000 views, which I don't have any that high views on any video content. It's over 250 views and probably about 100 comments, which is absolutely fantastic because it resonated with a lot of people because we know the job market, even though COVID has affected our countries in different ways. Um, Everybody's affected the same with regards to job. Whether you may have a reduced income or you lost your job entirely, it resonated with a lot of persons who were in the market looking for a new opportunity. And a lot of them took it to heart and did it.
And why did you pick that topic to talk about to begin with? Like, why was that important to you?
I think it was important just because that client in particular wasn't the only one I was dealing with on their LinkedIn profile who was looking for a job. I had several others at that time. And I think because her conversation, she was a bit stubborn in a sense in terms of I was telling her exactly what she needed to do on LinkedIn, like reach out to recruiters, do this, do that. And she found it to be too much work. And I told her it's not too much work. You are trying to find a job.
Yeah.
So because of all these conversations I kept having, I thought it was really important to put it on a record, like put it out there for people to know instead of having these individual conversations. Because
You knew that other people were interested in the same thing.
I knew a lot of other people were going through this. I knew, so I think you may agree, a lot of persons have a lot of pride with them and they're not willing to say, I am unemployed or I'm really desperate to find a job.
Struggle, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, it shouldn't, right now is not a time to wear pride. I'm sorry. It like you need to feed yourself and you probably need to feed your family and pay your bills. I honestly had to put that out because the conversation was with too many people, and the ones who responded, honestly, some of them literally said, Jarrod, thank you for this because I have been doing this and I understand what you're saying now, and I will make an effort to really put myself out there in the market so people can recognize me as an ideal candidate for a job. So it had a really great impact. I was really proud of that video.
That's great. Yeah. And did you use that in any other form? Like, did you cut it up and post it elsewhere? Was it just on LinkedIn?
I put it on LinkedIn and on my Instagram page, which will automatically go to my Facebook, but Instagram and LinkedIn are probably my two main social media platforms.